Hare Krishna. We are in the 5th chapter of Bhagwat Gita as it is. And today we are going to study the 5th verse of this chapter. In the previous verse, we learned that the person who sees difference in the result of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga is an ignorant person or a child. Krishna has said this because only a person who has not studied Bhagavad Gita under the supervision of a spiritual master who is in the disciplic succession of order will see difference in the outcome of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga. And the person who has studied Bhagavad Gita properly under the guidance of a bona fide guru will certainly know that in Sankhya Yoga a detailed description is given about the body and the soul, and the ultimate purpose of Sankhya Yoga is to give the knowledge of self-realization. And with having the knowledge of the true self, then one does everything for the happiness of Krishna, which means gradual progress in the path of Bhakti Yoga. So we see that in Sankhya Yoga, the root of the tree is found, and in Karma Yoga, the root is being watered. And the main purpose of both the path, that is Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga, is ultimately to serve Krishna, who is the root of everything that we see or maybe that we cannot see. But Krishna is the root cause of everything in this entire creation. So it's very clear that the sole aim of both Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga is to teach us our real identity and to serve Krishna, and by doing this, the human life becomes successful. Now in today's verse, Krishna is going to further elaborate the same topic. And in today's verse, Krishna says that the person who sees difference in the end result of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga is actually blind in spite of having the material eyes. And the people who see sameness in the result of both the yogas is actually a person who can see the reality as it is. This verse seems to be an eye-opener experience. We all claim to see and understand with our own eyes, but in reality, our eyes are anointed with illusion, which is why the temporary things of this material world seems to us real and permanent, and the reality of this world we are unable to see. The only reality is Krishna, because he is the root cause of everything, and everything comes from him and goes back to him. While reading this verse, I had the feeling as if Krishna has arranged for a free eye checkup camp, and I am very sure that once we will understand today's verse properly, then we will really feel that now I have got back my proper eyesight. Now, without any further delay, let us read the verse number 5. Yat Sankhyeha prapyate sthanam tad yoge apigamyate ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sapashyati. Yat Sankhyeha prapyate sthanam tad yogeha apigamyate ekam sankhyam cha yogam cha yah pashyati sapashyati. Yat Sankhyeha prapyate sthanam tad yogeha apigamyate ekam sankhyam च योगम च यह पश्यति सपश्यति यत what Sankhya by means of Sankhya philosophy Prapyate is achieved Sthanam place Tat that Yogaya by devotional service Api also Gamyate one can attain Ekam one Sankyam analytical study Cha and Yogam action in devotion Cha and Yah one who Pashyati sees Sah he Pashyati actually sees Krishna says that one who knows that the position reached by the means of renunciation can also be attained by works in devotional service, and who therefore sees that the path of work and the path of renunciation are one, sees things as they are. Now let us read the Anvay of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Anvay means changing the poetic verse into the form of prose so that we can understand it easily. Yat which Sankhya by the principles of Sankhyoga or by sannyas. Prapyate is obtained. Sthanam tat that position. Yogaya by the principles of offering the result of one's activities to the Supreme Lord, which is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. Api also. Gamyate is obtained. Ekam the same result. Sankhyam cha yogam analytical philosophy and selfless action offered to the Supreme. Cha and Yah who Pashyati sees. Sah he Pashyati sees or is a Tattvadarshi. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad says that the result attained by renunciation or analytical study is also attained by offering the fruits of one's actions to the Supreme Lord. Further, Chakravarti Pad says that those who know the truth and who sees that both award the same result actually sees. Chakravarti Pad says that the previous subject, that is, the previous verse, is being clarified in this verse by beginning it with the yat. And yat means which. Sankhya means renunciation, and yog means selflessly offering the fruits of one's actions to the Supreme Lord. To understand this in very simple words, it means that Sankhya Yoga means analytical study of body and soul. And after the analytical study of body and soul, automatically this knowledge leads a person towards renunciation, which means detachment from the material world, which we commonly know as sannyas. And yoga means nishkam karma yoga, in which when a person is engaged in the loving service of the Lord, so he becomes more attached with the Supreme Krishna. So we see that the result of both the yoga is same, because after getting detached from the material world, one tends to get attached with Krishna and engage in the devotional service. So the result of both the process is same, and one who can see the sameness in the end result, he is a person who can actually see, and the people who see difference have impaired eyesight. Now we will read the purport of Srila Prabhupada to have further more clarity. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Srila Prabhupada says that the real purpose of philosophical research is to find the ultimate goal of life. And since the ultimate goal of life is self-realization, there is no difference between the conclusions reached by the two processes. The Sankhya philosophical research brings one to the conclusion that a living entity is not a part and parcel of this material world, but he is the part of the Supreme Spirit Personality, that is Krishna. So, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world. His actions must be in the same realization with the Supreme and in relation with the Supreme. This is very important for us to know, that when the person understands that the living entity is not a part and parcel of this material world, and he is the part and parcel of the Supreme Personality Krishna, then he automatically understands that the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material world, and all his actions must be in some relation with the Supreme Personality. And when he gets in Krishna consciousness, then he is actually in his constitutional position. In the first process of Sankhya, one has to become detached from the material world, and in the devotional yoga process, one has to attach himself to the work of Krishna. Factually, both processes are same, although superficially, externally, one process appears to involve detachment and the other process appears to involve attachment. However, detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna are one and the same. And one who can see this actually sees things as they are. Yaha pashyati sa pashyati. I am sure that after reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada, there is no possibility of having any doubt. Srila Prabhupada often very sweetly says that you come to me and I shall remove the cataract of your eyes so that you can see things as it is. Srila Prabhupada says that everyone is so proud of their eyes and claim that they can see things clearly. But Prabhupada gets surprised when people are unable to see Krishna in everything and in every person. Which is why Srila Prabhupada says that you come to me and I shall give you eyes so that you can see Krishna's presence everywhere. Prabhupada says that Sankhya explains about the body and the soul, and that every living being is a spirit soul, which is the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And since every person is a spirit soul, so he has nothing to do with this temporary material world. And having the proper knowledge of Sankhya, the person gets gradually detached with his own body. And then what to speak about the body of others. This is called renunciation. And in the process of Karma Yoga, the person does everything for the pleasure of Krishna, like reading Bhagwat Gita, teaching Bhagwat Gita, worshipping the deity, doing abhishek, dressing the deities, preparing bhog for the deities, and by doing the preaching work and by doing such devotional services, the person develops attachment with Krishna. So in Sankhya Yoga, detachment from the material world happens, and in Karma Yoga, attachment with Krishna happens. And the end result is self-realization, which means that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Jiver Swarup Hoy, Nitya Krishna Das. And this realization is the sole aim of human life. Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna says that the person who reads Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master doesn't see any difference in the end result of both the yoga process, that is, of Sankhya Yoga and of Karma Yoga. But the people who are unable to see the sameness in the result of both yoga process, they are the ones with impaired eyesight and need to approach a spiritual master who is a bona fide spiritual master. Prabhupada says that the main purpose of Krishna giving us Bhagavad Gita is this, that we study Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master and understand our true self and do all our work to please Krishna. And by doing so, we will get back to our permanent home, Golok Vrindavan Dham, where there is no sorrow, no anxiety, and no sufferings. Now I am very sure that we all have understood the meaning and the main essence of today's shloka. And the main essence in this is this, that we need to understand Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly so that we can understand that Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga and see no difference in their end result. And then we can feel confident that we can see things as they are. I bow down to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Harimohan Das Prabhuji, for teaching us the most secretive knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. I thank you for listening to the Bhagavad Gita shlok so attentively and patiently. Now we shall meet next week, and in the next verse, Krishna is explaining that unless one is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord, mere renunciation of activities cannot make one happy. And it's going to be very, very interesting for us to know that mere renunciation of activities cannot make one happy. In this shlok, we have properly understood that the end result of Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga is the same. And the person who sees it is the person who can actually think as they are. Yah pashyati, sa pashyati. And for this, we need to have a proper knowledge of Bhagavad Gita under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And we all are blessed to have Srila Prabhupada as our spiritual master. Now we shall meet the next week. Till then, keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Please do share the video with others. In case you have any doubts, please write your questions in the comments, and I shall definitely try to answer with the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. Please write your realizations as it helps others to understand. Hare Krishna.